Start. So, how is this event so far? You learned something new? So, I'm Hansamali Gamage. I'm Microsoft MVP in Visual Studio and Technologies. And I'm working for degree as a senior software engineer. So, in today's session, I'm going to talk about this Azure serverless architecture with Azure Function Lab. And also, I'm going to touch Azure Function Lab on Cosmos DB. So, how many of you know about Azure Function Lab? I think we had another great session on Azure Function Lab. So, if you attend to that session, so then you can give me a basic idea of what is Azure Function Lab. So, anyone? Any one of you are using Azure Function Lab in your office environment, or any one of you have tried? All of you are having an Azure account, right? How many of you are having Azure account? Can you please raise your hands? You can get a free account, and I think when you are going home, you can try these things. So, in this Azure serverless architecture means we can create functions. Functions means a chunk of code we can create without worrying about the infrastructure or the operating system or any configurations. So that's what basically the serverless architecture of Azure. And also, you don't want to worry about the infrastructure, OS, and the patches, updates, configurations, anything. Just you can focus on the function implementation. And in early days, like when we don't have Azure, when you want to to send an email, let's say every 2 hours, you have set of users. Then you want to configure an action to send an email in every 2 hours. So what's the way we are doing? If we don't have Azure, so what was the way we were doing when we want to send the email in a specific given timeline? We can use something like a Windows service. When we don't have Azure, scheduler, and we can write the HTTP handler kind of thing. But now we have Azure, right? So in this Azure serverless architecture, we don't want to think about going for a Windows service or something like that. We have all the infrastructure, OS and configuration, everything is there. We can focus on the implementation. But in early days, when we were implementing the Windows service, we have to install that. We have to check about the OS update and big hectic. And you can scale when you want to when your users are getting increased and when the number of transactions are getting increased, you can increase this if you are using Azure Service Architect. So these Azure functions we can write in any language like C#, JavaScript, and we have a web interface to write this Azure function. And also we can upload the precompiled code. In my demos, I will be doing these two methods. And we can configure the continuous deployment and integration. And also these Azure services, the available Azure services like Cosmos DB, storage, queues, and event hubs, notification hubs, those things. Let's say, let's get the storage in your application, in your web application. You are going to upload the picture into a blob storage. Then, by using this Azure function, we can focus on the blob storage, and can generate some activities based on the changes to that blob. So that's what these trigger based Azure function has. And also, if you know about this Twilio SendGrid, of course you know about the GitHub, right? So these third-party services are also supported with Azure. In my demo, I will be showing about this Twilio thing. Twilio is like an SMS voice messaging framework. So I will be using that. And also the other features like we can set the cost, and of course it's not a big deal to maintain. You only want to focus about the implementation of the function. So the real stories like Fujifilm, Carmax, they are using this Azure serverless architecture of Azure function. And these are the type of functions I will be using few things from there. And the pricing. Actually, when you are using Azure resource, of course, we have to think about the pricing aspect, right? So when you are creating Azure function, you can go with the consumption plan and also app service plan. How many of you have deployed the app service into Azure? Can raise your hand. So this app service plan means it's like when we are deploying a web application or a API service or a mobile application, we are going with this app service plan. In there, dedicated VM is allocated for our application. Whether the clients are using, whether that's active or inactive, that dedicated VM is available. So we have to pay for that. If you go with the consumption plan, you have the option to with Azure functions. You have the option to choose whether to go with the app service plan or the consumption plan. In the consumption plan, the resources are going to get allocated only for the computation. Let's say your function is going to run for like 2 minutes, then it's getting charged for only those 2 minutes. But the thing is, we have these consumption plans, it seems like good, right? So we don't want to have this app service plan for a function. So what's the meaning of having the app service plan option for a function? Sometimes you want to, let's say your function needs to be run for more than 10 minutes. Then you have to go for an app service plan because the consumption plan is not going to accommodate that. And also sometimes your app needs to run continuously, like a web app, not as much as a web app, but continuously. Then you can go for an app service plan. Okay, so I'll talk about Cosmos DB later. So I will be going to the demos. So from the portal, let's try to create a Azure function map. So is this the first time you are seeing how to create a Azure function map? Can you please raise your hand? Is this the first time? let's go for it. From creative resource, we can search for function and create. Can give a name. We have to provide a unique name and the subscription and the resource group, and we can have the option to select the operating system. Let's go for Windows, and I will be selecting the consumption plan because the function I'm going to write, it's not going to take more than 10 minutes. So I want to go for a cheap rate. So let's select. So what's the nearest region for us? Any guesses? Southeast Asia. The South India is there. Southeast Asia. Singapore. So then let's not go to India. And in here, it's going to ask for a storage account. So I will explain why is that. Let's create it. This will take time, so I have already created the one. So let's create this is the function, the one we created, it's like the main account. So inside that we can create separate function apps. What's the best way to create a function app is, Microsoft has, they have like recommended to create a small chunk of code, small piece of code, not like an empty code in the one function. You can, if you want to do something complex, you can split those activities into different simple ones. So that's the most recommended way. So at first, let's create on this, click on this plus icon. Then I will select this webhook API, that is the HTTP request. We are going to send HTTP request. Based on that HTTP request, we are going to return something. So all of you know about the HTTP request, right? Anyone doesn't know about the HTTP request? So I will go with the C#. Okay, now the function has been created. This is what I am going to do. I am going to create a HTTP trigger based function, then going to return something. So I click on the HTTP trigger, then it has automatically this code has been generated. Let's run this and see. So in here, if you see, it's going to, in this logs window, you can see this function has been started and it has printed this log lines, and it's going to, this is the input parameter HTTP request message type, and based on that it has done something. It's going to actually search for the name string, and if that is not null, do something. If it's available, do something. So in here, when we run this application, we have the view files and the test tab. In the test tab, this is actually a post one. In test tab, we have the request body as Azure, name Azure. So the output shows as hello Azure. That means it's going to check for the name, and it's going to get the name and going to print this hello name. So if we pass in this test tab, you can basically test your HTTP trigger based function. So and run. It shows hello Hansamali. So there are a few tabs like integrate, manage, and monitor. So what are these? In integrate tab, we do have triggers, inputs, and outputs. Trigger means what is the event we are looking for. In this case, it's the HTTP request. So the trigger is the HTTP request, no inputs, and the output is it's going to return a text. So in there you can see the method, HTTP methods and all. And in the manage section, we have the ability to delete the function, and these host keys are used for the authentication purpose. And in the monitor section, that's like a dashboard kind of thing. You can see your function is running. You can see whether it has been failed, or if failed, what is the reason, and everything. So in my case, we didn't get any errors or nothing. So this proxy is actually it's the same as the same meaning as the normal proxy. We can like mock things by using these proxies. And if we go with the slots means kind of a deployment slots. Let's say you have a testing environment, staging, and production. So you can define what will be the configurations for these test environment, staging, and production in these slots. So that's the first function we have created. Let's go for another one. Click on this one. Let's go with the Cosmos DB trigger. Before that, I will give you a basic idea about the Cosmos DB. So anyone of you know about Cosmos DB or even heard about Cosmos DB? No? No? Oh yes. Yes. Okay. Then this Cosmos DB is actually a database service. It supports multiple models and multiple APIs, and this global distribution and latency and elastic scale out and service level agreements. These are the like types of multiple APIs Cosmos DB is supporting. It's like SQL API if you are an open source database, and Mongo and Cassandra API is also there. So in my demonstration, I will be using the SQL API. So let's try to create a Cosmos DB type of trigger. Based on that trigger, we will be doing something in our function application. Up to now, do you have any questions? So let's select a language and And here, I will go and create a Cosmos DB first. Actually, in my PowerPoint, I showed you we can write the code on web interface, or else we can upload the pre-compiled code. In this demo, in this first one I described and the next one I'm going to do, we are using this web interface. In the browser, we are generating these codes and we can actually modify that also. But there's another option, we can upload a pre-compiled code. We can use Visual Studio and create our function and upload the code into the Azure. So, Cosmos DB, let's go and create a Cosmos DB. For that, quickly, this is how we can create a Cosmos DB. We can select I mentioned this about these APIs. You can select SQL and subscription and the resource group and the location. And create. This will be creating the Cosmos DB, and I have already created the Cosmos DB in here. So, in Data Explorer, it's like this SQL Server Management Studio. We can see what are the available the structure, and this is the traffic in my actually this Cosmos DB is a database service. It's not a database type. In Cosmos DB accounts, we can have multiple databases. This traffic is a one database, and to-do list is another database. Inside this traffic database, we have multiple collections. Like this. So the collection means it's similar to a table in a SQL environment. So this is the Cosmos DB account. So I will go and create this Cosmos DB trigger. In there we have to go there again.
When you're creating the Cosmos DB, what is done by the API type? So we selected the SQL as the API type.
Yeah.
So we cannot change it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So what is done there?
If we go with the SQL API, so it's like the normal document DB we had previously in Azure. So we can store a JSON-based document in there.
So what is the difference if we go with SQL or say MongoDB as the API type? What is the difference there?
With the Mongo API, you can move a on-prem Mongo database onto cloud. Okay. So if we are doing something from the scratch, you can go for the SQL API, and that should be the JSON-based data type.
Mongo also JSON-based?
Mongo also JSON-based, but in the Mongo API, you can move the on-prem Mongo database into Azure. With Cassandra API, on-prem Cassandra database onto Azure.
Cosmos is just the container.
Yeah, it's a container, not a database. It's actually a service. Cosmos database is a database service. It supports different kind of data models like JSON-based and the graph type of data, table storage, the data that we are storing in the table storage, the table API. So the APIs will be the SQL API for the JSON-based data, Mongo API, Cassandra API for the one-time.
Right.
Okay, so let's go for the Cosmos database type of trigger. And select the language and create the data. And there the function the function has been created with the basic template. And there the input parameter will be the ID on this type of documents. So let's go into the integrate. In the previous example, I showed you that the trigger was the what was the trigger? In the previous example, HTTP trigger. In here, it's the Azure Cosmos DB type of trigger and no inputs and outputs. So in there, we have to specify the Cosmos DB connection and all. I will quickly click that. OS will run the system. And so I have to provide the connection string and everything. So I showed you how to create a function in this browser. So I will go into the Visual Studio part. So that means we can write code and we can upload a pre-compiled code into the function. So this is kind of a basic case study. So in there, let's say you want to do something like this. You want to it's kind of accident prevention system I have code. Let's say in a mobile application you have a mobile app. In there, you have a sensor to monitor the speed of your vehicle. So every time, let's say for each and every 30 seconds, the speed record is going to write into the Cosmos DB. So from there, you want to in Cosmos in there you want to write a function. Just forget about these technologies. You have your mobile phone and you have a mobile application in there. When you are riding your car, the speed can be detected from your mobile application. So that speed record is you are going to send into somewhere, some server. In there you are going to do some execution based on the speed. If that speed is exceeding a certain value, you are going to send a message to the mobile. You are exceeding the speed, so you have to slow down a bit or something like that. So you can develop this kind of a solution in real world also in actually our highways and all expressways. So I will describe the code. So this is Visual Studio. You can select if you are when you are installing Visual Studio, if you are installing the Azure-based development features, you have Azure functions in there. So let's create Azure function. And in here we can select, we have the .NET Framework and .NET Core. We can select from there, let's go with the .NET Framework. We can select HTTP trigger, trigger, timer trigger. We don't have the Cosmos DB type of trigger here. For the storage, I will select now. And here we can create a function, Azure function. So you can select Azure function, and these are the available type of Azure function: HTTP trigger, timer, clock trigger, queue trigger, and Cosmos DB trigger. We'll this. Sorry. So now this the template has been created with the function name and the Cosmos DB trigger. We use that template, and the database name, Cosmos DB account. In here we have the database name can be traffic, and the collection can be vehicles. And also we have to provide the connection string. So do you know where's the connection string stored in the Cosmos DB, in which place? It's in the keys section. We have the connection string. We can paste that into here. And also the lease collection to store the metadata type of things. So we can run this one, and from here, when you click on the right click and publish, it will publish this into it will publish this as a function application. You don't want to do anything in the Azure side. You have to do these certain modifications, like you have to add this connection string and all, but it will create the function application. So for this application, what I use is the mobile phone is going to send a speed record into Cosmos DB. So that record is this one. This one is the vehicle number, speed, and these things, and the mobile number. Then that inside the Cosmos DB trigger, it's going to execute some of the action. So I will some of the functionality actually. So I will show that. This is my function one. So that's a Cosmos DB trigger type, and the database name and connection name and connection string. Connection string is specified in here. And the input will be the document, and in there I have used this out keyword. So I'm going to do some calculations or some complex logic in there. I'm going to write the output into this queue. In this queue called traffic queue. In there we have to specify the connection and the queue message. So that's what I'm going to do in here. In here I'm going to get these parameters like vehicle number, speed, city, and mobile. And I'm going to check whether the speed exceeds 80. If then I'm going to write this the high speed detector message into the queue. So I will show you that one. Here I have given the name as the function name as Cosmos Q Store. That's there in this account. Here. So I told you about this monitor tab. So it's kind of a dashboard. So let's see what has happened in there. In this traffic data is the Cosmos DB we were using. This one. And there we go to the data explorer. We have this document. The vehicle number, speed, and ID. When that document is getting inserted into this Cosmos DB, it's going to run this application, run this function. So in there it shows this one we wrote here, documents modified, and the first document ID and the high speed detected if the speed is greater than 8. So and I will show a failed one. You can read about this exception and get an idea what has gone wrong. So that's the Cosmos DB part, and in here I told you this after executing this thing, it will generate this message, and that message will be written into this queue message. In there, that means the queue name is traffic queue. So we have to actually go to the storage account we created. For that, when I was creating the function application, we created a storage account, right? You remember? This is a storage account. In there, we were writing this message into the queue. And there we should have that traffic queue. And in there you can see the message. It takes so much of time. So after this queue thing, we have to send the we have to read the queue and we have to send the SMS message. So that has been done. This is the Cosmos DB, and from Cosmos DB it's going to write into the queue. Next, from the queue it's going to send the SMS. This is the that function. We are going to read the queue, and this is the we are going to return the Twilio SMS with this. So I will show you the SMS I got. This type of SMS you can get by using the Twilio SMS API. So what we did was, it's kind of like a bit of complicated thing previously. We don't have this kind of Azure function. It's a bit complicated thing, right? We have to the mobile application. We are getting the record, and that record is it's like a IoT. If you think about the IoT terms, and that speed record is getting generated maybe for like within like 20 seconds by 20 seconds. So we have to manage that much of a volume of data. So the Cosmos DB is the ideal solution. So we can create a trigger on Cosmos DB, and we can execute some kind of actions on that trigger by using a function application. And that selected filtered output will be written into a queue. Then in the next function, that queue will be read, and according to that one, the SMS message will get generated. So this is it's a not like a complex one, but in terms of, if we don't know about the serverless computing, that functions, we don't have the Cosmos DB and all, it's a bit of complex, right? But within like 1-2 hours, you can get this source code and the application running. So that's the magic of Azure. Actually, I have written an article based on how to create a trigger on Cosmos DB. If you have time, you can go through that. And if you have any questions, you can ask from me. And also this the feedback, that's really important for me to grow. So you have whether it's good or bad, if you have QR code application in your mobile phones, you can use in your feedback. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Yeah, that's good.
So when you are writing source code, based on early selected SQL, MongoDB or Cassandra, does it matter what we select? Our code is okay, we have done the code, everything. Maybe sometimes later on we decide, okay, we go with MongoDB. We just use the database and create it from scratch, selecting the MongoDB.
That means we want to change the API.
Yeah, whether the API will be changed. If we change the underlying database structure, database
API.
Yeah.
Actually, if you use Mongo API, you should have an on-prem Mongo database. You probably Cassandra also say. But if you are doing something from the scratch and you want to store some kind of a JSON-based huge volume of data, then that's the NoSQL based now. Then if you don't want to store that things in on-prem Mongo Cassandra, if you want to go with cloud, you can use SQL API on Cosmos.
In summary, we need to change the source code as well if we decided to move to a different database. The source code, the function that we have
in the function application. It doesn't matter, that's the Cosmos DB, you know.
So interface would be same.
Yeah, interface would be same.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the same question. Sorry. On the same question, why do we have to have why do we have that limitation of having a on-prem database if you want to go to Mongo? So, as he said, if you want to build something from the beginning, you said it should be the SQL API, not Mongo as in that.
If you want to move into cloud with Mongo API, then ideally you should have on-prem Mongo database. That's how the migration happens.
What I'm asking is, can't we do such kind of application without the SQL API using the Mongo or Cassandra API?
You use Mongo API or Cassandra API, you should have on-prem data structure. On on-prem MongoDB or on-prem Cassandra. Shall I show that in the report? But
So basically, Cosmos DB is a service, and it provides several data models. Service models. One is it's a document DB that is JSON-based, and the other one is Cassandra, and there's graph API and there's table API. So the advantage is, for instance, let's say you are pretty good in SQL, and if your database is in document DB, which is JSON-based, you can use your non-SQL to query and to do those actions. And if you want to use, for instance, like Cassandra, so whatever the Cassandra existing APIs and libraries, you can use it on the Cosmos DB.
Okay.
So what I think what you are asking is there's a on-prem database.
Yeah.
So it has to be there for you to create on the cloud. That I'm not too sure. What he's asking is, let's say I want to create a new Cosmos DB using Cassandra, right? Do we need to have a Cassandra database local on-prem for us to create a new Cassandra Cosmos DB?
yes.
Oh.
Any other?
Yes. We may create the function that to define the storage account, system mask, and what's the important of defining the storage?
Actually, we have to define the storage account if we are using a queue kind of a storage. But when we are creating function applications, functions, I told you if you are going to do something like a long process, it's better to split part of the.
Let's say the small piece of chunk of code, no need storage, just the function application. Then no need storage account.
Without the storage
We need the storage account. That's because for instance, we need all these actions. It just happens as we see. But all the logging and behind the scene is done using the storage, using the runtime. So we are not seeing it, but we just need to make sure that if you are creating a new function application, you can see that Azure function connection tree or something. There's a default connection tree. So but that is getting used is for all the logging behind the scene. So now let's say for when you are adding a message to queue, because of some error, it's not getting added. In that case, Azure will be automatically creating a poison queue, and the message will get put down there. So all this time, all the logging and all the partition process, it's happening on the storage. If you can go to the storage account, you can browse it using the storage emulator or something. You can see that there's a couple of queues automatically created, and all the logs are there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Maybe you can ask the question to the person.
Can you give me like example type of triggers available in the function? Three.
Yeah, maybe let's forget it. And the second one?
SQL
HTTP trigger, timer trigger, storage stream, queue.
Okay, guys. Three announcement. One thing is, it seems like you guys have forgotten about posting Facebook status on our page, which is Global Azure Bootcamp Colombo, with the hashtag Global Azure, because we are not seeing any post in the page. There is a price for that. Second thing, to enter with the referral room, you have to at least rate speakers as well as sessions on the event website. The third one, actually, I forgot. Okay. So to continue these events, we need your feedback. So you guys, I think you can remember the backdrop. So in front of that, camera guys is there. So please give your valuable feedback to them. So we will record it and post it on our page. That's what we need. Okay. Thank you very much. And your tea and snack is ready. We will start in taking another 10 minutes. Thank you.